Okay, we've arrived in Titania. I'm actually going to do something that we haven't done before. I'm going to fund the next stage of Titania. It's $600, which is a lot, but you know what, let's try it. The rhapsodic mayor shakes your hand. Such generosity, we'll get to work at once. Advise on Titania's next upgrade. There's much to be done if the founders can only agree on what. Current funding progress 100%. Port damage is 0, which is what we needed. We can advocate for a salon, a museum, a scientific enclave. Ooh, what do we want? Poetry, conversation, tea, and scones. Or a museum. Devoted to what? We'll decide later. The rhapsodic mayor waves her hand at this minor detail. Something to impress, to educate, something worthy. A good friend of mine from the Benthic College has been looking for a place where they can conduct their, how do I put this, less conservative experiments. I thought Roots End would be perfect. Remote, not very flammable. Scientific enclave it is. Construction begins. Let's go there. In honor of the college, the founders have given them an entire dome for their work. In awareness of how often said work has a tendency to go boom, it is the one furthest away from Valentine's Square. Let's help decide a direction for the enclave. No, we're not letting you build another Clockwork Sun. Ah, the melancholic poet almost looks pleased to see you. Finally, someone sensible. How about we decide on one of these plans, would you? An observatory, a workshop, a great exhibition. Workshop. New inventions and devices. Good, good. The melancholy poet seems to care very little for the decision as long as it stays made. Do that. Hurry up before anyone complains. What does that mean exactly? We can visit the enclave. We can request a boon. Perhaps the engineers in one of the workshops will be able to offer you something. Every captain can request a boon. This will give you 10 experimental modifications. Don't know what that means exactly. The engineer looks shamefaced. Near as you can tell under the thick layer of fresh soot. Look, I was almost sure it would work. Here, maybe they'll be able to do something with the pieces at the society proper. I don't know what that did. Did you break my ship? We do have boons to use at the society proper, so we'll try that out. Also, there are bees around. There are always bees around. There are never not bees around. I missed entirely with everything. We're now completely surrounded by bees. This is really bad. Let's go hide in here. We might be safe in here. I don't know if they can reach us. They can definitely reach us. Come on. Bees, come back. We need more crew really badly. That's what we're gonna go do now, I think. You know what, let's just go grab this experience and leave. Did we have a port report while we were here? I don't think I did. Back to the thing. And then we'll go to get more crew. The bees have vanished somewhere. Let's grab a quick port report and then we'll head out. Or did we go to a port report? We should donate some visions of heaven. We have a billion of them. Oops, we also donated 5 sky stories, which now means we only have 7. One more probably should be good. There we go. Now, quick check. We do have a port report for Titania. Okay, good. Alright, let's get through this. Oh, why can't I... There we go. The chain gun works pretty good on bees. It has less stopping power though than the Marauder weapon. We still need a guest to complete the research quest. unfortunately, so I'm just going to do a quick jump cut to when we are repaired, crewed up, and then we're going to figure out where to find a guest. Hopefully somewhere around. They seem to be pretty rare, unfortunately, and I also haven't seen a curator for a very long time either. So we'll see how that goes as well. That marauder is taking a punishment. I'll be back shortly though once we've successfully found something. Okay, we are back in New Winchester. We actually have more of our main storyline stuff to get done now, finally. So we went to the Omnivorous Publisher, and we're going to write the second canto. We must complete a momentous exploit that will inspire awe in the population of New Winchester. We discovered the fate of the Parsifal. We discovered one of the legendary wrecks, which I think is amazing. The publisher is silent for a long time once you finish telling your tale. He blinks a few times, even his cigarette has extinguished. Stunning, he says finally. Make sure you write it exactly like that. Let's write the second canto of the Song of the Sky. You've accomplished something so remarkable, so singular, it can't be perfectly translated into words, but you'll try. You sit at your desk, you stand, you pace, you sit again, you stare from the window where to begin. You remember the look in the publisher's vaguely reptilian eyes when you first told him the story, a mixture of disbelief, awe, and half-concealed greed. He's been a kinder audience than the blank page. You begin to type, remembering how you worded your story in that first telling. Soon, the typewriter's clacking and ringing merrily. The story stirs in your mind like some disturbed undersea monster, unspooling its tendrils before rushing Leviathan-like to the surface. You pause in your favorite typing. Before you write any further, you must make a decision. There are many ways to tell a tale. Are you writing a dry journalism with a hint of dark humor? A page-turner with abounding, scintillating prose, or a yearning verse tinged with melancholy? A prose, words that bite even as they entice the reader to chase after the next. Your aim is simple, to devour your reader whole, and to only regurgitate them when you're sure you're done with them. Let's publish the second canto. Words spit like lightning from your fingertips. The typewriter shudders and clanks in protest under the strain. You write in a kind of fury, your mind's eye raging with images of gloating stars, the endless burning emptiness. Then you sit back, exhausted. As you realize you've run out of words, the second canto is complete. When you take the second canto to the Omnivorous Publisher, he flashes a goblin-like grin. We're gonna set this city on fire, he declares with a convincing menace. Let's publish the second canto. The printing press wheezes into life, paper churns. The next day, copies of the first and second cantos are being ruthlessly hawked by bookstalls and enterprising penny vendors across the city. The extraordinary tale of a local sky captain who discovered the lost Parsifal, declares one salesman, waving copies of your pamphlet in the air like a holy text. A voyage beyond imagining, shouts another with a relish. Those who read the Song of the Sky shall not leave unscathed. The second canto is quickly the subject of fevered gossip and speculation. Could it all be true? The newspapers deign to review it, and throw around words like astonishing to describe both your exploits and your prose. Now we need a third song, but we do have that already. Write the third canto of the Song of the Sky. The second canto caught the public's eye, the third must somehow live up to its predecessor. We now have savage secrets and visions of the heavens. Let's do that, I guess. No contemplation, no procrastination, no hours of prolonged hesitation, not this time. Your story catches you like a fever and your fingers whirl so fast you threaten to tangle your typewriter's keys. You pause in your fever typing. Before you write any further, you must make a decision. Are you depicting your actions as purely heroic, or are you going to be honest? Honest, you'll not flinch from bearing your own flaws and foibles and occasional felonies. It's not just that honesty compels you to tell the truth. This will make for a better story, a captain of many shades, a mirror reflecting both light and dark. Hopefully it won't cause you too many legal problems. You stare at the half-empty page in panic. For a moment you fear you've lost your terrible momentum, but then the story catches you in its arms again, and you are a golem, a conduit, a ghost desperate to relay its final message. You write until your fingers are blistered, until the ending catches you by surprise. You recline, sweat-drenched. The third canto is complete. When you take the third canto to the Omnivorous Publisher, he scans it with an empty grin before handing it off to one of his assistants. How long has he had assistants? Another masterpiece, he says. You never cease to amaze. Publish the third canto. The Omnivorous Publisher's assistants flit around the printing press like tiny fish around the jaws of a shark. He sits back and pours himself a whiskey. The excited speculation around the second canto had only just begun to die down, and now vendors are selling the third canto, finding themselves mobbed by small, eager crowds whose zeal has been reawakened. Over the next few days, you spot citizens of all stripes reading your pamphlet, from vagrant under the bridge to a monocled aristocrat. A journalist interviews you, and any suspicion of his hostility evaporates when he starts stammering his admiration of your work. All the newspapers he praise. For weeks you're the toast of New Winchester's coffee shops and bookstores and other bastions of culture. We don't have a fourth, though. The Song of the Sky looms in your mind, an unfinished monument. You suspect you've accomplished something suitably extraordinary. Oh, we can do another one. That's true, we are the... I wonder if we have to do all of these. We can't possibly have to do all of them. Although, maybe we do. Who knows? We'll figure it out. We are the champion of the Windward Company. You played a decisive role in the Winchester War, and you are hailed as a hero by the Stovepipes. The Stovepipes will want to read all about their hero, says the publisher with a glinting smile. The Tackities will want to study the tactics of one of their greatest enemies. This will mean fame and notoriety in equal measure. I hope you're ready. Your deeds are worth publishing. Write the fourth canto of the Song of the Sky. Your previous typewriter died an ignoble death under your hammering fingers, and you've had to procure a new one. Time to make use of it. We leveled up. The blank page is no longer a source of panic, it's a field waiting to be sown, a block of marble hiding 100 sculptures, a sail that will whisk you to seas unknown. You sit down, crack your knuckles, and begin to write. 5,000 experience? Before you launch yourself into writing the Song of the Sky, you reread the previous 3 cantos. You're surprised to find that its ethos, its purpose are taking shape with a clarity you hadn't noticed or planned. Your attempts to capture the sky in words have tended to return again and again to a similar theme. The horror, the sour dread, the unwelcome dreams, the things you've learned that rub uncomfortably in your mind like a stone in a shoe. What do retired explorers bring home from the sky? A measure of sorrow, a smattering of stories, but most of all nightmares. Too long in the sky will unlock a door in your head, and you cannot choose which guests will come visit. You will write about your dread, and not because you have a choice. Themes that had once lurked in the recesses of your mind now rise unbidden to the surface, shaking the last vestiges of your subconscious from their flanks. You finally get the sense that you know what you're doing, and more importantly where you're going. You sit to write, fingers flying, that shining specter of an endless blaze, like a beacon in your head, until finally you reach it. The fourth canto is complete. The omnivorous publisher puffs a cigar and holds your manuscript up to the light. A jeweled watch sparkles on his wrist. As long as he had that. You should celebrate tonight, he says, pouring you a generous helping of whiskey. Then I want you to go straight home and start the next one. No detours. Let's publish the fourth canto. A fleet of assistants begin feeding paper into a dozen clanking printing presses. Machinery roars, and the fourth canto is born. You don't have time to ascertain the reaction yourself. The omnivorous publisher has arranged matters on your behalf. You find yourself whisked away on a whirlwind tour of book signings and interviews. Your pen hand cramps from signing. You collect a reliable stable of answers to the most awkward questions from journalists and readers alike. Especially an answer to one of the most awkward of all. When's the next one? Soon, you assure them. But by the time it's all over, you are beyond exhausted and in no fit state to write. The fourth canto remains atop the bestseller list for weeks. The fifth canto of the Sky we do not have. We don't have 2 unlicensed charts, we don't have moments of inspiration, and so we have done all we can for our book at the moment. Excellent, we did a lot towards our main quest this time. We are now much more capable of writing our story. We've come a long way. We don't need to repair, we don't have to follow our ambition. We can always visit the Promise of Days, I guess. I don't think we really need to do this anymore. Okay, well I guess that's pretty well it for this place. We can level up. But what do we want to level up in? We have a decent amount of hearts, a good amount of irons, a decent amount of mirrors. I'm looking for hearts and mirrors, I think, now. We can do hearts and mirrors here, family footsteps. Hearts and mirrors here, a scandal. And hearts and mirrors here, a lost love. Or haunted, for that matter. What's haunted give us? Tale of terror. Nothing from the family footsteps in terms of special things. A scandal. Nothing special, unfortunately. We already did haunted. A lost love will give us a moment of inspiration. Okay, let's do that. Love, the gradual erosion of that which separates you from somebody else. the fitting together of two lives as intricately and intimately as the threads in a tapestry or the cells of your skin. And when one of those lives ends, what remains of the other? You've loved, you've lost, how badly does it hurt now? Like a gnawing ache, a hole in the heart. You feel always that something is missing. In the middle of other things, you will look up and around and then remember that they will never be there. Sad. Now our hearts, mirrors, and veils are all relatively the same, with irons obviously being out in front, but we're doing pretty well. All things considered, we're pretty well balanced captain at the moment. We're not actually going to leave the port for the rest of this video, and well, depending how long this next part takes, but we are going to begin to, sorry, 1 second, I need to fix something. There we go, that's better. We are going to talk to our officers. We haven't done that yet. The Incognito Princess. From the tiara-crested brow downwards, there's nothing about the Incognito Princess that is not incandescent. She's like the sun, and about as dangerous to anything in the vicinity. Wherever the princess goes, she looks around with a surplus of curiosity and a complete lack of care. Why is she traveling? For a change, she says with a smile, after all, I'm a princess. The ambition of any princess, worthy of her name, is not to remain so. Okay, well, she didn't have much to say. The inconvenient aunt. She has taken over one of your nicer cabins, which she has ruthlessly redecorated. There's a preponderance of ugly ornaments balanced precariously on tiny tables. Hideous antimaskars adorn every available surface. Your aunt occupies a felt armchair in the center of the horror, where she spends her time either knitting or solving a truly mind-boggling cryptic crossword. I'm rather busy, she insists. Perhaps if you tell her something ghoulish, she'll pay attention to you. We'll use a tale of terror. Good lord. Are you alright? She immediately bakes you a batch of scones. She doesn't even comment on the order in which you apply the jam and the cream. I know what will cheer you up, she says briskly. I've been invited to a little soiree by Bunty, she pauses, an old school friend. I think she's the head of the deniable constables now. You'll come with me, won't you? You'll take your mind off things. She considers for a moment. I must warn you. It's a very particular evening. Old enmities put aside, that sort of thing. It's at Krillin. Alright, so we need to go to Krillin. That is his quest. Let's ask him... Oh, right, we need to show him... We don't have a caged chorister bee. We've never been to Caducus. Caducus? Something like that. We need some tea and some honey to do his possible enemies. We still haven't found a good place to find tea. That being said, we have 3 soul flaws. Let's ask him about the state of our soul. It's not worth much in its present condition, too flawed. I could cure you of that if I had time, and if I cared, and if it were not just as easy to take on a dozen other innocent souls in a better state of repair. If you want it improved, go try Krillin. Okay. So he is not too eventful. Let's talk to our rat brigade. The rat brigade has made a mess of your galley. Straw, bits of blanket, and patches from damaged uniforms have been gathered into a makeshift nest. In contrast, tiny notebooks, battered derringers, and hip flasks that are not as small as you might expect are stored with care, stacked in a corner away from prying hands. Let's talk to the rat brigade. Why exactly did they need a locomotive? Perhaps sharing a confidence of your own will encourage candor. We only have one savage secret, so we're going to use it for the rat brigade, I guess. Cinders lights a cigar. Our Sarge kicked the bucket at the blockade, but the night before he told each of us he'd left something in a vault. Old sod must have been loaded. The thing is, we need his account number to get it. He gave part of it to each of us, so there'd be no thieving, hence our predicament. That last mission, our lieutenant sold us out. Half the squad died, the rest scattered. I took the numbers off the dead, but we need to find the survivors of the company. Between us, we have the number, and we still have to find the vault. Cinders grinds her yellow teeth in frustration. Sarge kept some stuff at Krillin. Doubt it's the vault, but it might be a clue. She cocks her head. 50 sovereigns for a trip to Krillin then? Alright, so we have to go to Krillin for that too. Everyone wants to go there. It's kind of nice of them that they're all going the same place. Let's ask Albrecht about the Sarge. They're on a quest because of his bequest. What was he like? How did he die? Albrecht is polishing his claws. Sarge casts a long shadow. He assembled us at the start of the Winchester War. The best fighting rats who come through the avid horizon. You mean as a unit. I don't know why that accent just kicked in as soon as I saw the way it was written. He adjusts his whiskers. But we had no respect. We were expendable. To get better contracts, we had to be respectable, so we found a rodent of officer class to lead us. Part hamster, I think. He sighs, and that's where it all went wrong. He lapses into a silence and will say no more. Okay then. Let's spend time with the Rat Brigade. They're a riot. The Rat Brigade are playing cards, Cinders is cheating by means of mirrors concealed in the sleeves of her uniform, and a spring-loaded trap, and brazen card counting. Albrecht and Petronella have devised a surreptitious drinking game around a new display of bad sportsmanship. Oh. Okay then. Let's talk to our mushroom. Let's prod our Blemmingen. Its focus is elsewhere. You're sure to startle it. Just as your hand closes in on the Blemmingen, it reaches the tendril out and gently bats your arm away. None of that it conveys. It hasn't even turned to face you. Well then, it doesn't want to talk either. I guess we're going to Krillin then. That is our now goal. Apparently, Krillin is where we're headed. I'm just gonna flip around 180 and go buy some fuel. Well, not fuel. We got lots of fuel supplies. It's always good to have. Actually, you know what? We have lots of room on our ship. Let's grab 7 and 6. Alright, so we're gonna go all the way down to Krillin. I guess that was a much quicker trip to New Winchester than I had assumed. We're now level 13 though. That's pretty nice. We're getting closer to being level 20. I wonder what happens when we are level 20. I'm really kind of curious about that. My dog is mashing his toy into my leg. Oh, it's a stinky toy. Gross. Ugh. These guys can actually have remarkably good aim. So we're going to take a couple shots, but we'll kill them. We're just going to seize its cargo. Sometimes they have tea. But more often than not, they have seeds. We've been finding like 800,000 verdant seeds among the Takati ships. I don't know why they have so many of them. But off to Krillin we go. In fact, I might have to cut this video short. I do have a meeting I have to attend, unfortunately. So what I'll do is I will quickly get to Krillin, and then we'll do the actual quests in the next video. So like always, if you have any suggestions or comments, please leave them below. Others, I'll see you all next time. When we get to Krillin, we'll do some story stuff. Take care.